This is Why People Don't Do Their Jobs, Episode 17, Starting Up is Hard to Do. One of the most common scenarios I see is a business startup. Things go great at first, and then people don't do their jobs. Here's a classic case. These guys are former employees of a soul-draining corporation. This guy's a salesperson. This guy's invariably a hard-headed technical person. They do their jobs and they're passionate about the startup. In fact, if they're successful, they can hire a gopher. And if they're really successful, they can hire a crew and make the gopher a supervisor. But the gopher could be an excellent gopher and not that great as a supervisor. From the crew's viewpoint, gopher is often an entitled jerk. Passion doesn't get passed through, and people don't do their jobs. Here's a rule. The level of passion in a startup decreases by 50% for each level of management under the founders. Here's another case. In this case, there's a driver. A driver is a person who, using the force of his or her will, starts a business and drives it to success. Processes are minimal. Everything is run by the will of the driver. Invariably, the driver brings in a couple of trusted employees to support the driver psychologically. What happens is the driver and the trusted employees are in a bubble. The lower level employees don't know what their jobs are. There's no process except support the driver. Employees are disengaged and people don't do their jobs. This is a family business. In this case, the family's in a bubble. There are no processes. Everybody has 3 bosses. There's lack of alignment, and people don't do their jobs. Here's a special case. There's a driver, and the driver brings in family members at the highest level of management. And then there's everybody else. What happens in this case, there are 2 bubbles. The driver's in one and the family's in another one. The driver is conflicted. He wants to support the family but actually control them. The family doesn't respect or follow the processes. There's lack of passion and they're resentful at being controlled. The trusted employees are cut off from the driver. And for these employees, there are 4 or more bosses, there's lack of alignment, they have an eighth as much passion, and people don't do their jobs. Here's an extra special case. Something happens to the driver. Now there's no driver, there's lack of clear authority, the passion in the organization is gone, and people don't do their jobs. So here are the endgame scenarios. 8 out of 10 small businesses fail. Only 4% of family businesses survive until the 3rd generation. Survivors are mediocre because the business can't scale up. The value of a business is not its equipment or even people. It's having passion at the lowest levels and a solid process that's respected by everybody. Startups that don't have this tend to struggle and people don't do their jobs. This has been a presentation of iso-help.com. Check out our YouTube site for even more of these fun videos.